we were talking about cruise control, and the thing is, yeah, the original cruise control, which didn't take into account other cars, you know, we take it for granted that it was always called cruise control. But the original one, which was implemented first by Chrysler, was called Autopilot. And then it had all sorts of different names, Control-Matic, Speedostat. And so, but now what we were talking about earlier was adaptive cruise control, which like cruise control, adaptive cruise control is the generic name in the industry, which everyone understands.
Yeah.
But that's not what a lot of companies use.
Yeah, and the adaptive part of it is there's radar that gives you the distances between your car and another, and you can set some of those distances manually where it'll apply a brake automatically to slow you down.
Some of them are radar. Some of them actually use video
So,
cameras.
okay, yeah, yeah. I mean,
So like you
the
have
more premium,
Mercedes-Benz, yeah, Mercedes-Benz calls theirs Distronic,
yes,
and Toyota call and Lexus call theirs dynamic radar cruise control.
yeah,
Those use actual radar systems, but the
yeah,
Subaru system uses a set of binocular video cameras set up high in the windshield. So binocular meaning there's two cameras, because with one
right.
camera you can't tell the distance,
No, no, you can't
but
get the depth.
because there's two cameras, it can use the difference in parallax, and it can actually determine the distance quite accurately that way.
Mhm.
That's the same system that Tesla uses also. Tesla, for some reason, shies away from radar, especially the mic the small band radars, which are
Mhm.
being used for some of the super pilots, not super pilot, for some of the super advanced automated driving.
Yeah, so the main crust about all this discussion is, there's a lot of similar features that are on everybody's vehicle. They've got, maybe a little bit different way they're doing. Like we're talking about cameras versus, radar, but they serve the same function. And if the salesperson just doesn't know to answer that question, overcome that objection. Does yours have it? Does because the other guys does? That really puts them at a disadvantage, and that's really where Advanta-STAR can come in and help, because we go to the details and tell them, okay, here's the system, here's how it works, here's what your manufacturer OEM calls it, this is what theirs calls it, and so there's no, ambiguity, there's no uncertainty when you're sitting there. And as a salesperson, you've got to be confident when you're delivering, the answers to that customer. And the resource that we provide through Advanta-STAR can give you the confidence to, say, hey, look, that's a feature that not only that they have, but actually it originated on our product line. So I guarantee you, to your point with, and you were talking earlier, some of these things that were available on Chryslers back in the 50s, and some of these turbos that were available in the early 80s. A lot of people wouldn't give credit or any kind of recognition that that's how some of these systems have evolved. I mean, I think Mercedes-Benz was the first ones to do through Bosch, the anti-lock braking systems, the ABS systems that we all know about today. Uh,
Actually, that's an interesting thing there, because uh, now, to be completely perfectly accurate, the Jensen Interceptor was the first vehicle to have modern four-wheel anti-lock brakes.
You
But
know, and everybody's forgotten about a Jensen Interceptor since they went out of business so many years ago. I remember the
but
car, it's mid
but
70s.
Mercedes
Great.
was not the first mainstream manufacturer to offer it.
Yeah.
In fact, Chrysler offered SureBrake in 1972 as a $518 option on the Chrysler Imperial. And it was a four-wheel system. It had three sensors, and it could modulate the brake force at all four wheels. It had an accumulator pump, so it could put the pressure back, and it was controlled by an electronic system. It was a completely modern anti-lock brake system in 72, several years before ABS was put in the Mercedes, uh, which, to give Mercedes credit, it was standard on the S-Class when it came out.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, a lot of these little tidbits, that you come up with, I'm amazed. I mean, I know that you were a Chrysler file, if you will, from your days early on in the industry. And I know we've talked in other conversations, yeah, about your grandfather in the business. I mean, was this, I know you mentioned he worked for Chevrolet, but did he also, have a history with Chrysler, or you just,
nope,
were just
just
enamored
Buick
with
and
their, yeah, you've
yeah,
just
just
been
Buick and
enamored with their
Chevrolet.
history. Yeah. You know,
Oh, I'm enamored with General Motors history. Ford is my major Achilles heel.
hmm,
I couldn't tell you the difference between a Torino and a Fairlane and a 500 almost at all. I mean,
yeah.
I
No, like I said, growing up in the 60s, I love the different makes and models. And like you said, some of the vehicles we were talking earlier, you'd see a different set of tail lights, and that was one model year to the other. Not a whole lot of sheet metal changed, not like today, where
oh
you
yeah.
go multi years where you can barely tell the difference between, cars over a 3 to 5 year range.
Well, that's
Uh,
why they started putting the VIN number visible at the windshield.
Yeah, yeah. But it was fun to, see the differences for each of the makes. Of course, there's so many different models today than there were back
Yeah,
then, but it
I can
was,
still do the first generation Camaros, and I can still do the Tri Five Chevys.
oh
Just
yeah.
like that. I mean, it's the Camaro, the ones with the wind wings. That's a '67. That's all you need to see. If it
Hmm.
doesn't have wind wings, it's not a '67.
The wind.
Then yeah,
That's
then
for
the
the cigarette
'68.
smokers, man. Come on,
Oh
that's
yeah, that gives you good ventilation, man. Then the '68 still has the tail light and the grills from the '67, but there's no wind wings
no.
and it has side marker lights.
Yeah, that was
Uh,
68 was the first
Yep,
year that went into federal law.
yep. '69 have the meaner looking tail lights. It
Hmm.
lost the nice smooth round rectangular, and it's got like edgier rectangular tail lights. And I believe the side marker lights went from round to rectangular,
Yeah, it got a
and
little beef
then
sheet
different
metal on it for
grill.
69. And
Yep,
then they
different
came
grill.
up with then they came up with the all new body style mid-year
70 and a half. Yeah.
1970 and a half. Exactly.
Looked like a Ferrari. I mean, everyone was amazed. Then the Chevrolet Vega came out looking exactly the same, which probably made some early Camaro buyers confused.
Yeah, I saw it. Somebody did a retro. They were talking about this in 71 when a Vega, the Pinto, and the Gremlin came out. That was the import fighters, from the domestics. And I mean, the Vega, oh my gosh. And, just rust bucket. I mean,
Yep.
absolute
I've
zero.
heard people defend its aluminum sleeveless engine in later years.
Well, I can remember going into a local Chevy retailer, and oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it, but was it a Cosworth engine?
Oh
And
yeah, the Cosworth Vega. That was a crazy thing. It was like
it was all black with the gold trim, and it
more
had,
expensive than a Corvette
yeah,
and half
exactly,
the
exactly.
horsepower.
Yeah, it
But it
was
had
nuts.
a double overhead cam
Yep,
cylinder head.
yep, it
Now,
sure did.
people people don't realize the Cosworth Vega had a double overhead cam cylinder head. It was still only two valves per cylinder.
Yeah, but
People
it was,
automatically think, oh, double overhead cam. So that thing had four. Nope, did not have four valves per cylinder. The tooling to make heads like that uh, wasn't really present, especially not for a mass producer of any type.
yeah,
And so, but like the Hemi, which of course was a pushrod engine, always has been, I guess always will be, the by staggering the valves and putting them on opposite sides, you could make them a lot bigger. And so the Cosworth Vega, although it only had two valves per cylinder, they were much larger. And that was the advantage.
yeah. I said it was just like you said, more than a friggin' Corvette of the
Yep,
day. And
more
it's
than a
like, are you
Corvette.
kidding me?
Huge collector's items.
Absolutely, and they're worth a
I don't
fortune
know
today too.
who was thinking what,
Yeah, yeah.
but
Somebody.
and I mean the Corvette was going down in horsepower at the time, but it definitely hadn't gone all the way down
No,
yet.
I mean,
So
72, they were still doing, they hadn't put all of their pollution control garbage on it just yet,
they had a
but
big
they
block, so it
started
made
on,
up for some of it.
yeah, but when they wound up going, I think 75 is when they went to unleaded gas in all the vehicles. And that's when they
I
really
believe, yeah.
retarded everything on the vehicles. And it just, like I said, a 350 and a 74 versus a 350 and a 75, totally different specs and performance. Um,
Compression ratios had to drop.
oh, absolutely, absolutely.
And then
Uh,
the early catalytic converters were not very flow friendly. I mean, it wasn't
no,
like having like a flow master on the back of your car or a glass pack. That
yeah.
thing jammed you. In fact, funny related story. We had an 81 Dodge Charger 2.2, which is which is a vehicle that raises lots of eyebrows in every direction. But one of the things about the Charger didn't have a muffler.
In what model year?
81 Dodge Charger 2.2, the
Oh,
special performance version, did
okay.
not have a muffler. It depended entirely on the catalytic converter and a, a small resonator. No muffler. You would lift off the throttle real suddenly and it would pop and crackle.
Oh my
It was
goodness.
great fun. I mean, uh, by today's standards, it would be slower than a Prius with its battery disconnected and one cylinder off. But for the day, it was pretty jumpy and fun, and it handled well. And like I
Mm.
said, nothing could beat the fun of going around a corner, lifting up the throttle, and having it go plop, 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 plop.
Which brings me to back in the early '90s when you and I were selling together, um, the Dodge Spirit RT, the engine that they had in there, wasn't that a
Oh
Yamaha
yeah.
engine in that rascal?
No, you're thinking of the Ford Taurus SHO.
That's right, that's right. That was a
Yeah,
Yamaha engine.
yeah, the Taurus SHO. It's funny. They always had a Yamaha engine. The first ones were V6s with double overhead cams, but later on they did this tiniest little V8. It was crazy.
Hmm.
Uh, well,
Let's
I'm
talk.
sorry, I shouldn't say always because later on the Taurus SHOs got the EcoBoost Ford V6.
Yeah,
But
but
so
the
the Spirit RT, uh, what that was it was a Chrysler 2.2 turbo. That's all it was, but it used a Lotus 4 valve per cylinder head. So the
okay.
head, just like the Cosworth Vega, was a Cosworth head, and who knows, maybe they thought of that. Although they did a lot better job with power because that car, well,
That thing could smoke,
it was the fastest sedan built that
no
year.
doubt.
Period. I mean, AMGs, BMW M's, whatever. Nope.
No,
That
I
car was the
guarantee if somebody
fastest
said,
sedan built that year.
I went from a Chevy store selling Corvettes, and they had one on the showroom floor. And they said, "Here, go go out on Veterans Highway and drive this rascal." Let me tell you what, just an impressive, performance. I mean, it scared the hell out of me, but it didn't have quite the, the suspension or the, braking capacity that the Corvettes did.
No, yeah, it was decent.
It was
The
decent, but
the
yeah,
cool part about the Shelby GLHS was it had everything.
yeah,
Similar to my Cobalt SS. I mean, it's got 300 horsepower, but it also has Brembo brakes and good shocks and everything. Now the Spirit was not like a road runner. The Spirit wasn't like, oh, I got up to 100, now I'm dead. I can't turn or brake. But you're right, it wasn't as super excellent in the braking and handling as it
no.
was in the engine.
Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe for more, and drop a comment below. We'd love to hear from you and it really helps out.